364 days for the government. I was trying to get a full year, but I just sucked at it. So it's sort of, you know, I just get going and you will find something. And you just keep trying until you find it.
I just add to that, develop and maintain as broad a spectrum of friends, topics of interest, languages, places that you visited. Make sure you have as broad an experience as possible. And sure, it isn't the summer, you know, it isn't the summer of gap. But you know, I look back at my degree that I did in computer science at the University of California, Berkeley in 1981. And the number of things that I've used that I actually learned in class from that degree, I mean, I know every different sorting algorithm that there is. And I've had to implement one once when I was writing my own language. And that was it. That is like the only thing that I've ever learned actually in class that I've ever used. I can write a compiler. How often do you need to write a compiler? So, you know, sure, it's the summer of code, but all that gap is out there. It's huge, it's monstrous. The whole world is a big gap. And you know, just because you're focusing on code from one aspect, if you have a life, if you're involved with lots of other things, and you know, there can be plenty of things to get interested in, plenty of problems to solve.
Nice one. Andy, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just sort of picking up and following on from I work at Victoria in the computer science department, so I'm interested. And it follows on from the question and the comments. What should we be doing differently for our students that would help them coming out in this position? You know, they need to come out with a degree which somebody recognises, and well, you'd like to hope they come out with that. And I know it's not the only way that you can get to the place where you're writing code, because there are plenty of people writing code who haven't gone down that path. But at least if we go down there, where should we be? Where are the gaps? What things should we not teach? What things should we teach that we teach? And I know this could be a longer discussion, but any comments that people have?
You push the button, maybe. I mean, I'm an England too. As I said, I did my undergraduate work in California and came out here shortly thereafter. But I have a major gripe against the New Zealand university system, and that is, well, it's a couple of major gripes. One is that it forces you to specialize on day one, which I think is a huge mistake.
Yep.
In the American university system, you have 2 years to decide what you're going to do. And during that 2 years, they force feed you everything from English, classics, history. They force you to get a very broad base of education. If there was some way that you could change the entire New Zealand university system to do that,
Okay,
I would highly recommend.
And after I've done that, what?
So yeah, so you have to do that on your own here. And you know, while you're focusing on doing your degree, you need to find a way to encourage people to study other things and to learn other things, and teach people how to learn. Because as the pace of change accelerates, you know, what you actually know isn't as important as your ability to learn and absorb and integrate.
Well, here and that, when people are saying it's not the language, it's the ability to learn languages.
I just completely agree. So, I mean, what I was going to say is that ability to learn. When I look back and I think, you know, what's been my killer app, it's been the ability to retrain and learn. And the ability to, what that does. So my first degree is in anthropology, and I'm really grateful for that, because I did a kind of, from there I went into a very hard out, very competitive American science program. But because I had already a breadth in art and literature, and I took music right through to honours, and I look now, particularly in the gaming industry, you know, I have kids who constantly say to me, what should we do? And I go, you should do art and physics. You know, and if you start with those two, so you should be as creative as possible, allow your brain to get into that flow state, but really understand the application of math, because when I look back, I still use my high school physics, and that's about it from high school that I use. You know, that, and I did 7th form art history, you know, but nothing else really. And so that broad education, you know, read Aristotle, you was talking about him to the staff last week, you know, it's read widely, understand story, make meaning, you know, that's what we do the code for. Yeah.
I disagree. But I do agree and I disagree. So the US system, where you have a liberal arts undergrad degree and then you go off and do a grad degree in something or other, which is what I was exposed to, is wonderful in that at the top you get these amazing people that are incredibly broad and so on. But not everyone can get through a liberal arts degree and do the French and the German and the Anthro, and so that they can then turn around and do an engineering degree. That's one issue with it. The second issue is that it takes 7 years. And the third issue is that it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, and it's just, I didn't like it, I think. I mean, I loved the programs, but I was concerned. I'm still using my degree, my undergrad degree. I did a 4-year production technology degree in product development at Massey, and it was really broad, and I'm still applying stuff from that degree to businesses, which I think is really cool. But you do a degree, I think, for 3 reasons. One is to send a signal that you can do a degree and that you're smart and then you can learn and you can work. So the second one, and also that you're not super smart like Bill Gates and jump out before you finish and start your own billion-dollar company. The second one is that you learn how to learn, which I think you guys absolutely agree with you. And then the third one is you actually might learn some stuff that's useful. One change I would do is, I don't know if you're doing it, is get more people in from outside. Because I remember back when I did it, they were the sessions I enjoyed the most when you get to hear from real people.
Yeah, I think a degree in computer science, you should come out of that knowing what it takes to be the chief executive of a company. You should know what it takes to be a manager. You should know what it takes to lead a project. You should know what it takes to, write a marketing requirements document. You should know how to run a company. You should have experience in that, and because just being able to write code isn't enough to just run your own company, start your own thing. And another point for me is that I think it would be great if the university system here had the ability to specialize in some particular areas and be the world center in a few things, because that would create a really great ecosystem that would draw people here, would draw businesses here.
We do, it's called dairy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we do have a good ecosystem. We've got the design school here, which is a bleeding edge, good. We've got obviously the weather thing, we've got some great coding. There is actually a bit of a centre of excellence happening in Wellington, which please stay here and let's keep building.
Or go and come back. That's
You'll go and come back.
Yeah,
I mean,
go and
yeah.
come back.
Yeah. Bit of both.
Just picking up your point, one of the things we've done at Vic, or in the process of doing, is changing our focus from being computer science to being engineering, which has got a lot of that stuff around project planning and project management and understanding more about business and ethics and so on. So we're not there yet, but
Because
we
we
recognise
had
that it's part of the thing.
We had that with the tech degree back when I did it in 1928. And it was really good. And when I started still applying, it was that sort of stuff. Just how do you do businesses and how do you run businesses.
I mean, people that come out of out of school in the United States, it still takes 2 years to teach them all of that sort of stuff. So.
All right, this could go on. This could go on all day. You got one more?
On that term one, I think that's really important. I think, despite the fact, like my program in the States, it was very competitive, we also were required to do studio courses which were collaborative. And I think that, when I look at, someone really smart will not achieve as much as a team that runs hot, even if they're all average individuals. And I think that is something that, if I'd had more of at university, I think for me particularly, I'd been rewarded for doing well. And so it was very much about how do I nail the exam or how do I nail the essay or whatever. And it was about how do I do it. But that is completely counterproductive to my experience as an entrepreneur.
How do we do it? How does the team do it?
Yeah, how do we do it, and how can we create something really cool? And that has to be about trust and about being able to fail and make mistakes. And I think being able to do that at university, being able to fail in a team environment and get some of that fear of that out of the way before you end up in the workplace is a really good thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Was there another question down back there? Yeah.
I'll stand up so you know this is what we always have with that program. I've got a few ideas over the years that I've been sort of working on, and some are better than others, and some have worked out not too bad. But there were a few comments I was interested in earlier on about finding a team of people and sharing your ideas with other enthusiastic people who can add to the mix and so on.